Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. I'm your host, Mike, and welcome to the show. Glad to have you with us. Hope you're having a great day. I learned a very valuable lesson today about eating spicy food right before going live on stream. My mouth is on fire. To be fair, I love it. Ooh. We're going to keep going here. We are halfway through Reign of Dragons, and we're just going to keep pushing. Hello all, hello all. Glad to have you with us. Start off with a little,
I cannot do that.
little,
I cannot do that.
Arena Echo. Whoa. A little beefy Arena Echoes we're going to start with. I'm just going to get nuked right off the bat. That's a way to start, eh? Okay. Good, McFluffin, you showed up just after I totally didn't die. Welcome, guys. Glad to have you with us. Oh. I made hot sauce a couple weeks ago, and it's spicy. So Mike, about those Ember Mages. They kicked my butt. They kicked my butt. But I'm a scrub, so, you know, what does it mean, really, right? So, just a touch here. Just a touch. But yeah, that blank spot on that makes clear I didn't die. It was already there from last stream. Yeah. Is that with the ghost chili pepper someone gave you a couple weeks ago? No, this one's actually with Armageddon peppers, which are hotter than ghost peppers. I never used that ghost pepper that I was given. I actually got too many of these Armageddon peppers, and I froze a whole bunch of them, so we got a vacuum sealer and froze a bunch of them. Oh, my mouth is just on fire right now. It is. Oh. Feels great. I love spicy food, so it's good, but I should not have done it right before the stream. That was a mistake. Oh, trying to do stuff at the same time. Thank you very much for the TNY has gifted Andrew Tilly a sub. Andrew Tilly is a very worthy recipient of that. Recognize that name. See you hanging around the forums. I see you. I see you. Thank you very much, TNY, for that gift sub.
I cannot do that.
If this is your first time here, or not even, and you just have some questions you'd like to ask me about the game, why we did something, where we're going to do something else, I don't know what you want to know, please just at me in the chat, and I will do my best to give a satisfying answer for it. Oh my god, what's up with Ekim? Oh. My name backwards? Mike? My regular Twitch username, it starts with Ekim. I don't know, it's like, I don't know where that came from. It was like somewhere in like elementary school I made that username and stuck for quite a while. Probably high school actually. Thoughts on Devouring Orb Walking Simulator build? Totally balanced and not deserving of nerf, right? I'm not a huge fan personally of Walking Simulator style builds, just in general. I know some people really like them though, so I think the trick is when Walking Simulator builds are like functional but not optimal. Like as soon as there's some sort of like decision making and extra stuff that you have to do in order to optimize gameplay, I think that's really healthy. And often Walking Simulator style builds don't have that in spades, so to speak. Okay, not at the finish line. Come on. I think I need to do a little a little crafting or something because build's starting to fall off here. Starting to struggle a bit with it. With regards to specifically the Devouring Orb one, I haven't looked at the balance of it specifically myself. But, I mean, if it's crushing all the other builds out there, it probably needs a nerf, you know? What I get. Yeah. Yeah. Nothing really exceptional there. If you will not have offline mod, what happens to the I assume it's mode. What happens to the characters we have created in beta? You'll still be able to play the beta characters offline. Yeah. You'll still be able to play your beta characters basically the same way you're playing them now when multiplayer goes live. Since Heroth, the extra H scraped in there. Since Heroth has a son, is it safe to assume that there's Lady Lagan or Shiraya out there as well? Double Riot fight confirmed. I mean, gods don't necessarily always. I mean, like I feel like gods can break the rules in a sense a little bit.
I cannot do that.
I don't know. There's some examples in history or in mythology of in various mythologies of gods breaking the rules in that sense. Jesper 4242. We subbed 2 months in a row. Good evening, all. Good evening. It's not evening here, but I hope you're having a good one. Thanks for the answer, but that means you can create new characters offline. Yeah. Yeah. We're not taking away the game mode that's currently available. Did you see PoE made a skill like volatile reversal in the new league? Pretty cool. GGG taking inspiration from last Epoch. Yeah, there's. I have no idea if it's us they're taking inspiration from for that, or if it's some other skill. There's lots of other examples in gaming of that style of skill. And I was seeing lots of other callouts in chat too when it was happening, like Tracer and Echo and other stuff. I'm really interested to see, because there's quite a few problems that come with that skill, volatile reversal, in the just like the core functionality of it, without a skill tree. And I'm really interested to see how they handle those problems, because we've been redesigning that skill for a while now. The base functionality of it to just fit a little bit better and play a little bit nicer, and I don't know if they'll have similar problems. Maybe they've already figured out how to fix those problems. So I'm really interested to see where it goes with it, because we've been talking a lot about volatile reversal recently. I love this skill for sure. It's got some communication problems of like where you're gonna end up and what stats you're gonna have when you get there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what happens there. And as far as taking inspiration from us, if they did take inspiration from us, oh, that'd be so cool. That would be so cool. Greetings, everyone in chat. Lots of love from Greece. Oh, that's cool. I don't know if we, like, I'm sure we have had someone from Greece before, but I've never explicitly seen it. So, hello to Greece. Would love to go to Greece. Oh, that'd be so cool. Went to Italy, which is close. A lot of similarities, but tons of differences. Love the ancient architecture. All right. Zeus says hi. Yes. Hello, Zeus. With regards to upcoming dungeons, will there be many bosses per dungeon, or just one, or is it still a secret? The first dungeon. We're first off, we're planning on making many dungeons eventually. The first iteration will be very light, and will be a lot of functionality things. So there's a lot of little things that come with it that we have to set up. That like the initial dungeon randomization system, which is in now, and just setting that up takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time out of being able to design and develop new dungeons. So in subsequent patches, we'll have a lot more time to add more dungeons in. But for now, we're starting pretty low on the number of them. The initial one, and once again, bosses do take a lot of design and development time as well. So the initial one will, I think, only have one boss. It's not to say it'll stay only having one boss, or that maybe some dungeons will have variable bosses or optional bosses, or I don't know what. But the initial offering for the very first dungeon will only have one boss. And it's going to be a fairly unique boss fight, because this is something that I've been kind of alluding to for a while now in streams, and we'll get into it a lot more later. But I keep mentioning this. It's that when we're designing boss fights, the only thing we can assume players have is movement and damage. And one of the things we are hoping to get out of the system is more design space for bosses. That? Oh, totally forgot about these gloves. Nope. Get any extra space here? I can. How about here? I've been meaning to fix this. I know I've said it like a million times, like, oh, I can totally fix this algorithm to not have this problem. I just haven't. Apparently I'm lazy. Thank you very much. We've got another host from Wilbatron with one viewer coming in hot. welcome. Hello, will there be some other mechanics to interact with during the campaign besides the pylon-looking things? What do you think about frenzy charges, charge generation? Okay, that seems like a very different question. Will there be other mechanics to interact with during the campaign besides the pylon-looking things? I feel like you're talking about the endgame mechanics of the monolith, and we will have other endgame monolith things to interact with, other endgame mechanics to interact with than just the monolith. And we are introducing other mechanics to interact with during the campaign as well. Yeah, I hope that answered that. Will you think about frenzy charges, charge generation? There's lots of things we do that are similar to frenzy charges. Not specifically the mechanics that come with frenzy itself, but we do have some charge generation stuff. There's the divine charges in they're not called charges, are they? This here, essences we call them, and it's a very similar thing, but there's different mechanics that go with them. So Void Knight has some too. Yeah, there they are. Void essences. Will there be other crafting interactions on items, for example, corruption and a corruption mod pool? Yeah, so corruptions, maybe. We definitely will have other crafting systems to come into play. We should have. I think there should be a new one coming this patch, and like there's new mechanics in new runes and masteries, new runes and glyphs. There's no new masteries coming this patch. Sorry. There is the like what ailments are affected, or the enemies are affected by. That's coming. Stoked about that. I keep while I'm playing here, I keep seeing that they're not applying. I'm like, I know I'm applying ailments. Why can't I see them? What's going on? And it's just that I realized I'm playing on live instead of dev builds. It's a sign that a mechanic's pretty good, is when I forget that it's a new mechanic and it just feels like it's always been there. So I'm excited about that. Alright. Yeah. Alright, thank God for that. I was so angry from 2 streams ago. I cannot accept login requirement if your characters are offline after. I have no idea if there'll be a login requirement or not, but the like you'll yeah. I don't know. I think there's a miscommunication happening here somewhere, and I don't know where it is. I'm sorry. At the very least, the way it is now is not going away. If that makes any sense. That's the one thing I can tell you.
Stand down or die.
Hi, hello, hi Pyro Ghost Ultra. Welcome to the stream. Glad to have you with us. All right. Hey Andrew Tilly. Hey Mike. Any updates you can share about how the object pooling system for skills and new character sheets are progressing, and will either possibly make it into patch 8.4? I don't think either will make it into patch 8.4. The character sheet is progressing quite well. I haven't looked at it in a few days, but it looks great. If it gets finished in the next, I would say, couple weeks, there's a good chance it'll make it in. Like the UI design for it. There's still a fair bit to do with it. It's also one of those things where we're building it fairly modularly, so if maybe we don't put some stat in and a new stat gets created, oh my god. Not paying attention to what I'm doing. Not paying attention to what I'm doing. If we do add another stat in or something like that, it would be a lot easier to incorporate it. Let's go somewhere easier. I'm getting my butt kicked. Aaron Action RPG, hello, sir. How's it going? Glad to have you with us. My mouth's calmed down from the hot peppers. It's like coming down off of like the euphoria, and I'm sure there's some sort of like borderline shock that your body goes into with spicy things that hot. I don't know if you guys ever watched that like, Hot Ones show where they just they do like a celebrity interview with hot wings, and you can see it in their face sometimes. They're just like they just space out for a little while. It's kind of what it felt like. All right, Firewall CMD. Lots of love to the developers. Thank you very much. The ARPG customer market can be extremely competitive and cliquey, but I think you guys are doing an excellent job engaging the community and developing a great game. Just wanted to give my thanks. You're welcome. Glad to hear it. I always love hearing when people are enjoying playing our game, and that's like always the most important thing, is just people having fun. It's number one. Yeah, there's I mean, a lot of really strong entries into the genre right now, which is really cool. Like, yeah. Thank you, a chill bear. I can read. I definitely know how to read. A chill bear. Thank you for your 5-month resub. That's amazing. You are one of a very select few 5-monthers. 2 of you, maybe 3 of you. Thank you very much. Yeah, if this is your first time here, all of our subs go directly to charity. It's a new charity every month. You can see the charity we're doing this month over the top of my head. We do a lot of stuff for climate change action, which I thoroughly enjoy. Probably should read up more on them. I started reading, I'm like, they seem real cool. To be clear, someone else hands me the who the charity is, and they do a lot more research on it. But I just like to look and see what we're supporting in general. Oh, we got a big one here, Dahariel. That looks like, is it 20? Oh my god, that looks like 20. Wow. Thank you very much. That's amazing. That is fantastic. Congratulations to anyone that just got a free sub. That's a big one. Very cool. Very cool. All right. Sorry for Moralini. Sorry for nerding out again, but I love the lore. Care to comment that Orvis is us or another traveler from timeline gone wrong? We went mad when trying to fix the timelines and were corrupted by the void just by small tinfoil hat theory. Well, I will say that this is not the first time I've heard this theory. It is very Diablo theory. Like, you know, like kills Diablo, takes the soul stone. Which that story point in Diablo was they didn't specify that. I always thought this was really cool. The outsourced company that they did with the cinematic just did that, and they got it sent back to them. It was so close to launch they had to roll with it, and so it just like became part of Diablo lore based on some cinematic team that did this. And I mean, it's a good thing. It's an amazing story beat, but yeah. How many legendary items are coming next patch? A lot. A lot. I don't know the exact number, but it's big. It's really big. Way more than you think. Whatever number you think, it's almost for sure more. One thing you can assume players have is movement and damage. Did I hear that right? And if so, can you elaborate a bit? Yeah, so The only two things we can assume players are able to do is move their character and attack. So we know that you have the move ability, and we know you have basic attack. That is all we know for sure that you actually have. You could have anything else in your bar. Maybe you have lunge set to do no damage at all, but you still, or like maybe you have no movement. We can't guarantee you have a movement skill. We can't guarantee that you have a healing skill. We can't guarantee that you have a ranged damage skill. The only things we know for sure is you can move and you can attack. Which means that if we have a boss mechanic that sets up a wall and says the only way you can hurt me is by shooting me at range, but some characters don't have any ranged abilities, those characters just can't do that boss. And so we can't assume players have certain abilities. Or maybe we say like, oh, you have to get out of this specific area fast enough in order to not die. We have to assume that people can get out of that area by just walking and not have a movement ability. Which is why I know we see a lot of people like Lagon's impossible. I see this all the time. Lagon's impossible. I use lunge, but I can't do it with lunge. You can do Lagon with only movement, like without using any movement abilities, and not ever get hit by one of his big attacks. It's really hard. It's way easier with a movement ability, but it is possible. And we do test most boss fights with this in mind, where we try and build characters that are a little bit lacking in some key areas, but the mechanics are still functional. And so what I was saying earlier is that like if we had a way where we could guarantee for specific bosses that you had a new mechanic available to you, regardless of class, it would give us new opportunities to add boss mechanics that wouldn't be possible otherwise. I think a really good example of this done well is actually the Zelda franchise. And so for those of you that don't know, most Zelda games have dungeons throughout the game where you start the you get into the dungeon and there's a bunch of locked doors. Let's say there's a bunch of these eyes over the doors, and if you shoot the eyes with an arrow, the door opens. But you don't have a bow, so you can't shoot it. And then in the dungeon, at some point, you get a bow, and the rest of the dungeon opens up. Because you can suddenly open all these doors that you shoot with an eye. So throughout the dungeon, you learn how to, and a lot of the enemies in the dungeon are susceptible to arrows as like a weakness type thing. And then you get to, oh my goodness, don't die, Mike, don't die. You know, instead of dying, try not dying. How about that? Yeah, let's go with that. And oh my goodness, and when you get to the boss fight, the only way to kill the boss is with the item you got in the dungeon, and
Stand down or die.
or it's like way easier with that maybe. So this is a good example of they can design boss fights with the assumption that you have access to this mechanic, because they know in order to get to the boss in this dungeon, you used this mechanic and learned it a little bit. So we've been looking for a way to have players assume they have specific mechanics in order to have new mechanics in boss fights. Yeah, that's something we're working on. I don't know what else to say about it. Yeah. Of course he gets back up. Of course he gets back up. Ooh. Not a bad ring. Okay, let's finish this fire here. Ooh. Nice little relic. What? why does 90% upgrade chance feel more like 90% chance to fracture? I can tell you exactly why that is, actually. Because... Okay, I'm gonna say you have really, so you 0.9, you have 90% chance to succeed, and you do it. It's like, should be a guaranteed thing. You do it again. Do it again. You do it again. Do it again. You keep going. We've just done it. What was that? 6 or 7 times at 90%. All of those feel like guaranteed things, right? And you're like, okay, if I do 10 at 90%, chances are I'll fail one of them. True. Because fracture chance is a binary, just like did it happen or not, and by the time you get to about 5 or 6, whatever it is, 90% rolls in a row, you have about a 50% chance to fracture it. So if you're crafting an item, and you're able to, through like doing lower affixes, like you do like all the 1s, all the 2s, all the 3s type thing, and say you're using also glyphs to help lower the fracture chance, you're able to do 6 or 7 90% rolls in a row on one item. Chances are you're gonna fracture that item with only rolling 90%. I know that seems really dumb, but it's the way the math works, and it's really unfortunate. And it's kind of the reason why the crafting system we have right now is a little unintuitive and can feel bad. And we're really taking a hard look at how that works, and we've got a way that we hope will fix this, fix the feeling, keep the difficulty, keep the agency, but fix the feeling. That's really the thing we're going after. We don't want to remove the capabilities. We don't want to make it easy mode. We just want to change the feeling. And we think we've got a way that handles it really nicely. We're still testing it. We're still designing it. We're still doing all these things for it. But it's been in the works for quite a while now. We first propositioned this change probably a year ago now, honestly. Probably more than a year ago, actually. But yeah, so that's why 90% upgrade chance feels more like 90% chance of fracture, because it is. Kind of. I've been away for 3 months. Welcome back. And your stash is still a mess. Nice to see some things don't change. Yup. I'm the worst. Yeah, I know. Sorry. One of these days I'll fix it. I just think about like going to do that, and I'm like, or I could just make the game better for you guys instead. And then I make the game better instead.
I cannot do that.
Had a huge breakthrough on the new transform. Almost said the name. New transforms abilities today. We're working on them, and we've had some complications. I think it's the most complicated back end skill we've had yet. Front end, it just feels great.
I cannot do that.
There's a lot going on. We've got another resub. I missed Rhymed as well. Rhymed has gifted a T1 sub to Christent. Congrats, Christent. Glad to have you with us. Also, thank you for the Twitch Prime sub, Joshua LG. Joshua LG. Joshua Large. Joshua Angle. And Enelg. Try and make up words out of them. I fail most of the time. I would like to see more forest and jungle maps in the game. You've done an incredible game with the incredible job with the game about new players. Thank you very much. We will keep that in mind. I'm sure there'll be some more jungle maps. There's a lot of jungle in the ancient era. and there's not a lot's been explored in the Ancient Era yet. But we know it's a fan favorite. There's lots of room there still. What characters will get new art assets in the next patch? Sentinel's getting a glow up. As there was a social post about that today. Druid transforms are getting entirely the two existing ones. Bear form and Spriggan form are getting complete redone from the ground up from scratch. Everything's changing, and the third form that we've not revealed yet is also pretty freaking awesome and coming in hot. Will you be able to use non-wrathful skills in wrathful form? Not directly. You won't be able to like press a button and that button does that skill directly. No. However, there's a lot of Sentinel Shadowplate. That's really good for it's like Void Cleave or something. Great. 5. It's actually probably pretty good. Do you like a Void Rive build? It's just T6, right? Yeah, it's T6. Yeah, there's a lot of skill interactions from like from different trees. So like you'll be able to press a button on, and Weber actually does have two where you can use non-wrathful skills, but like I'm kind of cheating when I say that because Swipe does that now. So, but yeah. There's a lot of interaction, and there's a lot of reasons to build different skills outside of the ones you're in Werebear. So like the big problem with a lot of Werebear and Spriggan stuff right now is the skills you do specialize in other than Werebear and Spriggan don't have that big of an impact for the most part, and you're quite often left just taking companions because they have a lot of natural synergy because they just sit there and do things you don't need to actively press the button to get 90% of the value from them.
I cannot do that.
So we're really trying to provide more and more interesting interactions with other skills in order to be able to have a bigger build variety for what you have outside of form. Yes, more Ancient Era maps. Yeah, it's good stuff. I really want more Ancient Era stuff too. That's I always push for that whenever we can. I'm like, it's more Ancient Era stuff in. I just show up at meetings I'm not invited to. They tell me to leave, and I'm like, no, Ancient Era. It doesn't actually happen. But I could. 2 streams ago was a question from my side. Will there be pure offline mode? And you said it might not be possible to do it, but it sounded in a way that that was almost certainty. Okay, I want to be really clear here. I do not know. That's it. I remember the conversation you're talking about, and the subsequent, what I was talking about after saying I don't know, was a general statement, not specifically relating to that scenario. I do not know what's going to happen. Sometimes we do have to make hard choices. That might be one of them, might not be. I have enough. Don't have enough. Alright, Mike. Filling up the helm slot. Oh, there's that giant gift. What was it? It was 20. It was 20. Thank you very much for that. I haven't explored last Epoch yet. From Diablo 1, a bit from Diablo 2 back in the day, I loved they gave a face to the imaginary evils preached around the globe. On the other hand, I never felt the appeal for killing monsters in other games. What is the take on enemies for last Epoch? We're really trying to build like our own separated world that, you know, has our own gods, and some of those gods are not exactly good. Yeah, we're definitely building our own world from scratch. We do have a lot of those enemies are rooted in mythologies from many different cultures around the world. I know there's been a lot of references to gods that I didn't know were in mythologies. And I think it's a really big advantage of having such an international team, is that we have people that grew up with mythologies that many of us have never heard of before, and so we get really cool insights there. It's a tight one. Alagon isn't really hard. Move out of the way. Telegraph attacks by just walking. It's the first time you do it, it's really hard. The first time you do it, it is a tough fight. I think even the second, third, fourth time you do it, it can be a tough fight. Especially because there are some abilities that don't work on that fight still, which we are still working on. But given that you played the game one way up until a certain point, and there's suddenly this brand new mechanic. Well, it's actually, there's Idol of Loathing and Idol of Ruin. I think the two that do actually use the same mechanic, but it's still a pretty novel mechanic. And so like we totally understand that it trips up a lot of people. We try and make it as intuitive as possible, and we try and fix bugs where we can, all sorts of things. So it's getting better. It used to be worse. It used to be a lot harder.
I cannot do that.
And scrolling. Keep that chat box scrolling. Is there any way to get into multiplayer test team? We don't have. So yeah, get a job with us. It's the only way right now. We haven't opened up the multiplayer testing to anyone from outside the game team yet. Not even my friends have access. Not even people that I've been bragging about this game to in my private life for half a decade have access yet. Sorry. And they let me hear about it, I tell you what. Anyway, no, I'm just kidding. Like the first people we will give access to is likely the CTs, because they are already under an NDA and everything. And it's a small group that we can slowly roll out the testing for. That's the big thing, is we do want to take our time with it and do it piece by piece and get to a point where we're comfortable with the number of people that are in there, and get more people in and expand it slowly, and the new bugs that show up all the time. Yeah. But when there's more information on how to get into one of these testing events that we have, it will be public information when it's available to anyone. Any new runes, glyphs coming next patch? There should be. There's crap, I don't know the number. There's at least one of each new one coming though. It's more than one. I don't know what the number is though. I don't want to say it and be wrong, but there's definitely a couple. There's some that are like revamped from old ones. There's some that are just straight new. There's some that aren't changed almost at all. I think everything. Oh, I should say it. Shattering is still the same. And rune shaping technically is slightly different. But if anyone plays this back when they see what it is, they'll be like, yeah, I guess Mike, you're technically correct, but no, it doesn't. probably got some like bonkers awesome gear just sitting in my stash that I don't even know about. Alright, so you will not change the underutilizing mechanics just to... Oh, sorry. Love the crafting system and exalted mods being dropped only. You guys are doing an awesome job. Keep it up. And know that we appreciate it. Thank you. That's fantastic to hear. I always appreciate that. It does feel good to... I don't know, when you do something and someone's like, I had fun using what you made, always great. Thank you. Alright, next one. So you will not change the underlying mechanics, just the display of the crafting chances. No, there are some mechanical changes that are happening. We need to change more than just the display to change how it feels. Unless we just like sort of lied to people about what it was doing. Like, oh, you have a 10% chance for success, and it's actually 90%. Why am I so lucky? Oh my god. No, we don't do that. We give real numbers. We are changing the mechanics slightly. I would say the core functionality of like here's an item. I'm gonna upgrade this affix. I'm going to add this affix. Oops, I'm gonna add this affix. That core functionality of that, not changing. Yeah. So like it's still gonna be the same like basic structure, but there are functional changes coming to the system as a whole. I know I'm being super vague. And I know it's frustrating. I know you're trying to figure out what those changes are.
I cannot do that.
They're not quite 100% set in stone yet, which is why I can't say this is what's coming. Although I'd love to. I know there's at least one person that'll be super happy about it because they pitched almost an identical system on the forum once. It might have been Discord. And it may have been the CT Discord, actually. I don't know. Somewhere I've seen someone say basically the same system, and I was like, yeah, that's what we're working on already. What is most complicated? The new what? Sakaris Bay, please re-ask your question. I don't understand it. Here's another question from you right afterwards. Will we see a new way to spend gold soon? Gosh, I hope so. Seems like gambling was the old gold spender. Now we don't have much target farm in monos. Yeah. We know gold sinking in single player needs to be addressed. Yes. Got info on what the need/desire for facial animation might be right now. Cutscene cinematics. Yeah. We were actually just talking about this. The character select screen, them not blinking, is surprisingly unnerving. Like, it feels weird having them just like never blinking. So we're working on a way to do that nicely. So it's there's some things here. So like we can't. It's not a good practice to make the model you see in the character select screen different than the ones in game, because that way it leaves less room for bugs later and less technical debt that we have to deal with. So we want to keep them be the same rigs, but like this is the only way I can even see the eyes. Like, and there's no way you can see the eyes how most people play when it's like what are my eyes doing? It does not matter that I'm blinking or not at all. So we've got to find a way to make it work, but not have performance implications in the actual gameplay, and there's all sorts of things there. And then make it work in cinematics would be nice as well. It's all the little things that add up. And you know, like just that one little thing probably wouldn't have almost any effect on like frame rates, but if we do that 80 times where it's like this almost no effect, it suddenly has an effect. Cumulative effect.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that. I
Right. Are you working on a better optimization? Yes. The answer to that question is almost always going to be yes. Yeah. It's and that's not for that's not because I think that it's just never going to be like fixed or whatever. It's just it can always be better, you know. And it's such an important thing. In an ideal world, we'd be able to have the game look perfect on laptops and run quiet and cool and, you know, be perfect and like perfect FPS and look amazing. And it's just the reality of the matter is there's different hardware out there, and so we try and make the game work as good as we can on as many hardware types as possible. Oh my goodness.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Oh, got low there.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Alright. Not bad. Not bad. Not out of the woods yet. Thought we were. Wave 14. I thought they went to 13.
I cannot
They go to 15? That'd be so weird if they went to 13. You should probably say what it goes to. Alright, the third unannounced form is Were Dragon, isn't it? That'd be cool. It's not. Have we gotten any info on how dungeons will work? Very little. Very little. There'll be a very expansive dev blog that goes into details on that. We just had our first functional version of it up this week, so it's we need to make sure what we're doing is solid before we roll it out, because if we announce it and give details on it and then we're like, oh, by the way, it didn't work, we had to change it, it's kind of lame. Any new inspirations coming from D2R and newest PoE changes? Like, we play other ARPGs all the time just for fun because we love them. That's why we're all here. So there's incidental things that happen. I can't think of anything specific that I've seen. I have been playing a little D2R. It's my childhood, but looks better. It looks how I thought it would look. It looks how I thought it looked when I was a little kid, you know? And like, played a weird amount of Diablo 2. So there's nothing new showing up there for me. I haven't played the most recent PoE League. Been kind of busy. Really wanted to. I'm gonna give Scourge a shot though. Looks great. How will difficulty? So like there might be something that comes up. I don't know. And I think we've got enough, don't we? 550. Exactly. Exactsies. Should get a bonus for that. How will difficulty scaling work in multiplayer? Just plus X life and damage per player, or something more interesting like monsters getting new skills and abilities that they can use? I definitely want to give them new skills and abilities. There's some interesting mechanics you can do, and this is sorry for everyone who's heard me say this 80 times, but here we go. D2 example. Diablo in Diablo 2 he's got several abilities. Some of them are very devastating to a group, like fire ring. Some of them are line attacks, things like that. So they play differently depending on the danger level is different depending on the number of people that are there. But he's got one attack where he grab like a bone cage comes up around the player and locks them in place. And a mechanic like that, when there's only one player and the other people have to break them out, right? And a mechanic like that, when there's only one person, sucks. Like, really sucks. But when you have other people to break you out, it's this interesting party mechanic suddenly. And so this is partially what I was talking about as well with, like, we can only assume that you can move and attack. We can't assume you can do anything else. So we can't assume that you can hit two things simultaneously. But if you have two players, you could hit two things simultaneously. You know, so there's, there are potential mechanical things we can do in boss fights or regular fights even when there are multiple people playing. There's a lot of problems with that. There's a lot of things. Like, you spawn the boss and give it this extra ability, and then someone leaves the game mid-fight. Suddenly it's just a 1v1 fight, but he's got this multiplayer ability. What do? Do you then have to listen for every player leave join and modify the boss abilities on the fly? Not that big of a deal. But what if it's a group of enemies? Suddenly you have this large number of enemies that, like, maybe every single one of those enemies just there, each has a different set of abilities based on the number of players. And suddenly it becomes actually not the easiest thing to make function smoothly. Be a lot. There's a lot of room for a lot of problems to happen there. So we're working through making that work nicely, and what options what things we could put in maybe. The core thing is making the health go up. Yada yada yada.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Or just maybe more DR, more flat DR. I'd love to see more abilities. One thing we've said a lot of times is that, like, well-oiled parties should be able to complete content a little bit faster, whereas the term for it is, like, people that are fighting with each other, like non-synergistic parties will anti-synergistic parties will be slower than a single player. Is the goal. What's on the spreadsheet today for leaks you can tease? Oh, I might be able to find something here for you. I've got a couple little things that I got midstream sent to me, so I don't have anything really prepped. Here, I'll here's a fun one. Okay, here's the text on that's a cool one. I forgot about this one. Here's the text on a new node on a new skill. Okay? Blades in the ground now create a blade storm that hovers and spins in midair at the target location for 3 seconds, dealing damage over time to enemies in a small area rather than hit. I'll read that again in 1 second here. Blades in the ground now create a blade storm that hovers and spins in midair at the target location for 3 seconds, dealing damage over time to enemies in a small area rather than hit. That is a node on a new skill coming up. I never switched my camera back over. Ha! All pro. All pro. Gonna get something. We're not just sitting here, I promise. What is going on? This is a media source. Now I want an image so I can show you guys stuff. Of course, it's jumped me to the wrong. I should really have these prepped beforehand. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. We'll just slip this right here. It's gonna be right there. Yeah, this is a cool thing. It's too late. My question was trying to bait you into leaking the transform name. You almost said, but you... Oh, sorry. Alright. Vicongnito. Any plans to add more blood and gore on kills? Example when last boss has from new chapter, but on mobs. There's,
Yeah.
In some cases, yes. I don't have any direct examples off the top of my head.
I cannot.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I remember this, and there's like a way to do this so it's less terrible. He's got some deeps. He's got some deeps. I do love this boss fight coming up. It's one of my favorites. This was a like all Sam did. He did like all of this fight on his own basically. Well, I know there's a lot. Not this fight here, but the Hero fight. Sam did the vast majority of it. I know those other people that helped, and you guys did great too. Sam spearheaded it though.
What brings you here?
Alright. With multiplayer coming soon, TM, are you going to rework skills on some classes to be more party-based? So you can play support as more than just Paladin and Primalist. Yeah, there's... I'd say Paladin and Primalist will have the most direct and obvious support things. There's stuff as simple as, like, an Acolyte Curse that has a pretty heavy support aspect to it in a lot of cases that aren't obvious initially. But yeah, we try and work in nodes that will be good in a party play situation, and try not to have those nodes be absolutely... I don't know how to say it. We don't want them to be the thing that enables content, but just be another option party play for mechanics that are fun and interesting. So what does that mean? It means that we don't... It's this attempt to not lock content behind multiplayer. So we didn't want, let's say, the only way to survive the final boss fight is to get a super tanky Paladin up front and another Paladin standing behind him just healing him like crazy as the only way to do it. Because that just... we want things to be soloable as well. But yeah, adding more party support things as options, totally. Will there be improvements to character models and animations in the future? Oh yeah. Obligatory MTX when question, my Acolyte really needs a new hat. I think we're actually switching out the hat just by default. I think I know the hat you're talking about. So you may not have to wait that long for that specifically. When is fishing coming to last, Epoch? How much thought has gone into the potential existence of support characters? Would you implement additional ways to enable that later on, or do you think it may create an efficiency dilemma like D3 4-mans or PoE party play or a curse bots even to even entertain this archetype? Yeah, it's funny, I was just talking about that. Yeah, we want there to be as many different options and archetypes available for people to play that they have fun with. Things where maybe you played it in another game and it was really awesome, and you're like, I want to do this in Last Epoch too. All those sorts of things. Yeah, we want to do as many of them as we possibly can. And we know that support archetypes do have the potential to cause problems. We think we know quite a few of what those are, and have a pretty good handle on how to not fall into a lot of those pitfalls. But I mean, I'm sure there'll be things that we need to adjust as we go. You know? Ho ho ho! Not today. Bahal. Oh. Oh, you fail. The H is silent. Doesn't Set an Egyptian god or goddess and Baal as well? be like just horribly wrong. It's spelled all differently. Set is an H, I think. Sorry if I just butchered something. Boom, boom. All right. Lance of Longinus, yeah. Any plans to rework Reaper form for Lich? Right now, it does feel great to stop. Does not feel great to stop and pick up loot, which the game is essentially about. And you have to really build around making it last longer, pigeonholing you to specific Orb of Decay stuff and whatnot. I don't. There's no major plans on the table at the moment, but there could be. Do you plan on fixing the dummy so it's also considered an enemy? I think if we do more dummy-related things, they'll be more specifically in a different zone. Specifically because you can end up with like a situation where just in town your pets just go running off to attack it and just sit there all the time attacking it, and you hear this like rawr, rawr, like every second while you're just in town, which sucks. And the just like frustration and annoyance of that, I think, outweighs the convenience of being able to have them auto attack it in DPS tests at the moment. But that's not to say that we won't ever have a way to do it. So it likely would be a different zone. That would be like a testing zone where maybe there's and this isn't set up yet, and I don't have any confirmation that this is happening or not, but it would probably be more along the lines of a like here's one enemy, here's two enemies side by side, here's three in a triangle, here's three in a line, like, or something like that. I don't know, like different configurations so you could test out things as well at different ranges, and yeah. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right. We probably won't just stick a dummy in a, like, it wouldn't just be this zone right here with a dummy in the middle and nothing else. Something like that, Alright. Do we try and buff ourselves up a little bit first before doing this, or do we just go for gold and see what happens? Probably fall on our face? It's probably fine though, right? One way to lure people to play multiplayer. I don't think we're going to need to lure people to play multiplayer. But yeah, okay, is adding a separate drop pool for games with 2+ players in them that only has party-based uniques and or affixes, so you get drops that are based around the way you play the game. Yeah. I think if we did that, like, yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. I think if we did that, they'd have to be strictly worse. Like, they could be interesting and cool, but they'd have to be strictly worse, which is sad. And I don't think they'd be very compelling if they were strictly worse. I could be wrong about that. Like, it's my gut reaction to it, though. Playing with Warpath sometimes makes picking up items very clunky. Are you aware of that? Oh, yeah. You gotta stop the spin to win, right? Let's say I'm level 68 and I'm doing the Stolen Lance Monolith. Can I get a level 82 unique item, which is boss drop, or is it level locked like random drops, which drop after you at least same level as item? The boss drops are not affected by character level at all. Effects from shrines are ticking down while changing zones at the moment. Is this going to change? They probably should change. I can't say if it will or not, but it probably should. I have multiple clips of you doing little dances. Tell us when the new transform is, and I won't leak them to the public. See, here's the problem, Zakaris Bay. I have no shame. The part of my body that's supposed to feel shame just feels pride instead. So I'd actually love it if you released it. Because I'm that weirdo. I can even like add some to the competition. Like, do you want like a little Amy Santiago nerd dance to go with it? That tracks. Yeah. I know I brought this up a few times, but I used to work as a camp counselor. You cannot be a camp counselor with shame. It doesn't work. What? Am I just a noob? Did I just not get out far enough? I think I'm just a noob, guys. Yep, Mike's just a noob. Rip. Alright, well, let's answer some more questions, then I'll go back in. Where were we? Is it true that y'all added an hour to the release date every time someone asks about multiplayer? That would be so brutal. It would never get released. No, it's not true. The last time I used a controller in last Epoch months ago, I found I couldn't use the keyboard and controller. Is this still the case? No, you should be able to. Yeah. I hope that's not the case. You should be able to. What's the best way to farm Orient Amulet? I think that might be an autocorrect from a mobile keyboard. Orions? Or Orions, or whatever it is? I don't know. There's Last Epoch Tools has a lot of good information about it. Probably if it's not, I don't know if it's a boss drop. I can't remember, but if it's not, probably just like farm the biggest content you can do that has the highest drop stuff, like the most corruption or whatever. Let's see those Brooklyn Nine-Nine moves. I didn't beat it. It also feels bad having an XP shrine at the end of a map. This should change too, shouldn't it? Maybe. The fact that it ticks down on transition sucks. I mean, at the end, yeah, it's not ideal. There's shrines, like, there are shrines that are just better than others. I don't know, that one I'm less on board with fixing or changing. But maybe. And also my opinion is not the only one that matters at all. Any thoughts to add 3-to-1 or 5-to-1 or something kind of recipe for vendored items, i.e. have a full tab of idols I'll never use, and it would be cool to sell and gamble for a chance at a usable one. Yeah, vendor recipes are interesting. I can't remember what it was. I know we've talked about having vendor recipes before. There was a really clear reason why we didn't want to do it. I can't remember what it was at all. And maybe that's a sign it's gone away or something. I don't know. Not at this time, I'd say. I was in the danger zone. Yeah, I was in the danger zone. Can you tell us how many uniques for the next patch? Same amount last patch I think had a lot of uniques. I think there's less, but I mean, there's definitely less right now. A lot of uniques get added in at the last second. It's something that doesn't block anyone else from working. So, for example, Chisoki right now he's like he wears a dozen hats and does a bunch of different stuff and is unbelievable. But so he's been working on the dungeon system because before the dungeon system's completed, our like level design team is blocked on it. So level design needs dungeons to keep going. So he does that before working on adding new uniques to the game, because adding new uniques doesn't block anyone.
I cannot do that.
Or like the cracking chain, the same thing. And like, so for example, I work on skills early in the patch so that we can get them testing early, because they require a lot of different combinations and testing. So things that block other people and things that require testing get done first. So the uniques are not either of those things, so they tend to go in later. So I don't know how many uniques are coming next patch. And we've got a resub from Heavy for 5 months. Just came home. Did I miss any spoilers? You did. There's one sitting on screen right now that I totally forgot about. Let's get a good look. It's gone. Oh no, where'd it go? Any plans on adding the option to the loot filter to choose free prefix suffix slots as a requirement? I don't think we have yet. I do really like that one though. It'll be less desirable in the new crafting system. Well, for too many free slots. Too many free slots will be a bad thing for finding items in the new system, which I know is like out of context, so useless of a bit of information, but yeah.
I cannot do that.
One free slot will be really good in a lot of cases. Yeah, still want it. Maybe. I know it's something that gets requested a fair bit, and loot filter is a very important part of the game. Like, oh man, what I wouldn't give. I've like played Path of Diablo a bunch, so like got to play D2 with a loot filter, and now playing D2R without a loot filter. Like, there's a maximum number of things that can show up on the screen, and like having to walk to like have other things that you can see there have their tags show up. It's so frustrating. Loot filters are fantastic. That's all that was about. Just loot filters are great. Will you add a toggle to turn off auto target on breakable objects with controller? It's really annoying with movement skills. Yeah, I could see that being a good option. If you have suggestions on things like that, it's way better to post them on Discord or the forums. Pitching them to me here is good. I get so many so many things like brought up in these streams that honestly by the end of it I'm usually a little zonked, and I just kind of just get right back into work, and I'm not like writing these down or anything. So there's a lot of stuff, like there's a lot of things you guys have that are really good ideas, and I feel bad because I'm pretty sure some of them have just like gotten lost in the ether because I haven't written them down. Which is entirely my fault. But you all might need to be the solution to my problems. Which is so mean to say. But I don't think I'm good enough to play and answer questions and take notes on those suggestions simultaneously. I'm not there yet. I gotta level my own self up first. Any plans for cast on crit, cast on kill, cast on hit affixes on items? There's already that on specific skills. It needs to be really specific, so there already are those things, yes. There's definitely more of them being added in, but they're really specific ones, not generic, just like pick a skill to cast on crit. We can't do that. Good question. You have to repost it though, miss the at last epoch. Oh, I just answered it. There you go. Why use wording like recently instead of exact times? Just reading it on the sidebar triggers me somehow. Yeah, so it's actually a really good question. I'm the wrong person to answer it, but there was a very good reason for it. Just so you know, recently is always 4 seconds. So recently just translates to 4 seconds in last epoch, always. And we try and set everything at 4 seconds. Not everything. We try and set as much at 4 seconds as we can, because once you get a feel for that, like that timing as like an internal clock in your head of like what 4 seconds means, it's really easy to. You're not counting 4 seconds. You're just counting recently as a time unit. And
I cannot do that.
It's good. It's good. It's a positive gameplay experience. But yeah, I know a lot of people like to see the actual number. I don't think there's a great chance of us doing that anytime soon, but it's possible. Mike confirms 6 affix slots or 10 affix slots. Did I really? That was a mistake. Didn't mean to. It's not happening. I don't know what I would have said that implied that. I did not mean to. It's not happening. Or at least not yet. Plans more skills like a racing strike in terms of slower but big damage. The playstyle, but it doesn't feel like there's much options there. Yeah, there's only one more skill for Sentinel coming for launch. So we have like Forge Strike, Smelter's Wrath, Judgment, Erasing Strike. Those are all big hit skills. They're slow. There's definitely Primalist has at least one. Like what is there? Earthquake. New Entangling Roots looks is straying into that a little bit too. Oh, we've also got Heavy Gaming has gifted a T1 sub to Vecognito. He's asking good questions, so good gift. I like it. Yeah, we always want more skill archetypes in there. I know we've had requests for like that slam feeling, and there's another slam feeling skill coming as well next patch. It's not really big and slow, but it has that slam feeling, which is important. I won't tell you what class it's for yet either. Time for a serious question. Bah. Bah. That's what I say to your serious questions. Bah. Should I? I was doing okay there, wasn't I? Like, I'll probably be fine. All these fractured. Should we craft a little bit here? Stability Guardian. 38 is what we're looking at. Oh. Alright, got some health back there. Am I still around 9 something or 11 something? Yeah, okay. Let's not push our luck anymore. Alright, time for a serious question. How much focus with uniques is there with supporting those secondary damage types for classes? The easiest example being Morning Frost, Rain of Winter for cold marksman. I'm assuming that's what MM is these days. And crit style builds. Yeah, there's... we definitely try to pick out some of those like interesting mechanics or playstyles that people want and that we hear. That's a big thing that we do when we get feedback on like, oh, I'm really trying to make this build work, but there's just not enough support for it. Getting that extra unique in there really helps with that. There's gonna be, I know there's a lot of uniques that people have said, this unique would be really cool to be able to play with at endgame, but it's just not very good, and I want to see a better version of it. A lot of those requests have been heard. Very loud and clear. Pretty sure Mrs. Mike could probably play chat, answer questions, and note down suggestions at the same time. Oh. Previously, your philosophy on legendaries was about one per build, still the majority of your gear crafted. With legendaries coming, is that still the case? Like a setup of one legendary, couple uniques, or set items, the rest crafted? Lots changed since I said that. What is... just drop that and move on, right? What is this month's charity all about? Never heard of it. I recommend going to check them out and see what's going on with them then. They've got a great website. The little bit, I didn't read as much on it as I probably should have if I'm supporting something, but the bit I did read was fantastic. They do a lot of work on sustainable living, and they do a lot of work with smaller governments in order to get hands-on projects completed. So they will go and help a town get more sustainable energy or something like that, or more sustainable water or something like that. Like there's a lot of stuff they do on like a individual city levels with government stuff that I noticed they were doing, which was really cool, I thought. Yeah. Anything you can reveal more on legendaries? What's the difference from uniques? They do cool stuff. They hit real hard. Heavy Gaming thank you very much, has gifted a ton of subs to the channel. I guess he liked what I said. That looks like 20 to me. Is that 20? It looks like 20. It's a lot. Wow. You guys are fantastic. It's always really cool to see people, like, if they find something that they really like and sharing the love to them. It's really cool. Let's share some javelin love to this Emperor of Corpses. We are clear outside this time. We're taking an extra step to make sure it doesn't happen again.
I cannot do that.
Ooh. I guess I'm ranged. I don't actually have to get in that close, really. Stand back, actually. Just like, oh, I can stand in that area. I can stand in that one too. I can stand in that one too. Give me that potion.
Ooh, all right, Mike, time to get the whole ass out.
Yeah, let's go. Let's get that whole ass out, buddy. The time has come. Talk of many things, of shoes, of ships, of sealing wax, of cabbages and kings, and the sea is boiling hot. Oh, and whether pigs have wings!
I cannot do that.
It's all of that rhyme, I know. Poem. Probably messed up some parts of it too.
I cannot do that.
Oh! Get across to this side. Down below half. Get. All right. All right.
No.
As reward for watching me suck. Where's center on screen? There we are. Here's a little look. Little look-see at something. Wonder what that is. That's cool. I don't know what that is. It's cool though. What's our necrotic resistance? It's capped. What am I doing wrong here, people? We need more health, don't we? First, I just break it right off the bat. Like I said, I'm crafting. I should show you what I'm doing, shouldn't I? Just like let me break all my gear really quickly before we do this again. Damaging fracture. We could just break it all, guys. Wouldn't that be fantastic? We need something. Brick, 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 brick. This one's really low chance, isn't it? Oh, 70. Health. Yeah, there's an extra 100 health. Might help us out a bit. What do we need? We need 26. Well, let's give me 26. 30. Will something easier give me 26? 26. What does this one have? Enemies deal increased damage? Sure. Sure. I wonder if we're going to get through this today. This may be next time on. Alright, let's get back to some questions. Hello, do you have any thoughts on commander class type that has mercenaries with equipment instead of summons? Yeah, I mean, so we kind of tried to channel that a little bit with the Forge Guard, and so like manifest armor and like the manifest weapons you get, things like that. That's the sort of that's one of the styles we were going for with that. I might not even make it through this.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that. Stand down or die.
Touch and go here.
I cannot do that.
I do like that style where it is like more gear focused, and we're kind of trying to get that archetype in there with Forge Guard. There might be some other things that have elements of that as well at some point.
I cannot do that.
Oh, we also found the reason. Okay, so this is gonna sound like such a random and weird thing to talk about, but you guys know I saw the shrine. It reminded me. You know the Ice Beetle shrine, and every once in a while you get 2 Ice Beetles, but nothing says that you can. We figured out why it's happening. We fixed the bug. It's not happening anymore. But we know that's a sweet mechanic, so we're gonna bring it back intentionally. And have it actually say that stuff is, you know, what's going on is actually what's going on then.
I cannot do that. Stand down.
It was randomly, it had little number 1 in one of the fields of its component that summons the Ice Beetle. It was like random extra summons 1. Just sit there the whole time. Hiding in plain sight.
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
Alright, let's get some more questions in here. Another dungeon question. Will dungeons have unique loot drops specific to that dungeon? I believe so. I'm pretty sure. There will be things that you can only obtain. Yes. One thing I believe so. Yes. There will be things you can only obtain by going into that dungeon. And completing it successfully in some cases. Can't tell you what those are yet. Spicy. There's Heavy's big sub gift.
Stand down or die.
The AoE graphical effect of the Dragon Emperor fight mysteriously now lines up with the damage area. Yeah, right? Can we get a fix for that, please? This is a serious bug that needs to be fixed immediately, right now. Let's just hotfix this in real quick. Looks like legendary recipe book. I thought for a second it was still on screen, and I'm like, oh no! Have I been playing with it on screen this whole time? I don't think it's a legendary recipe book. That'd be cool enough. If they had recipes, would you want a physical representation of the recipe in game? It's a tome of Sith Lords, new unique for Void Knights, right? Nailed it. Mike did plan all of the gear breaking so he can sell the crafting update even better. Galaxy Brain. Yep, there we go. Ever thought like that is the exact what I just did with crafting is exactly the type of thing that we want to change. Where like instead of it being like, oh, maybe like I can get something but it's just gonna brick and make the item worse, and suddenly like there's no point even trying to do that last little bit of crafting on it because you might make it worse. That's like the risk reward aspect of it's good, but when it actually breaks your item and it's like your item that you're using, it sucks. And it means that like you're ending up crafting on like secondary items that you're not actually using, so you have to have like your set that you're using and then your crafting set until you get like a one that can replace it after like full successful crafts, and it doesn't feel as good because you can actually make your items worse by crafting. Yeah. We're trying to take all, and we can't take all of them out, but we're trying to take as many of the bad feels out of crafting as we can. Let's go. Let's go. We got an extra 100 health. That's enough, right? How does dying in a dungeon work? Do we respawn or start over? There's a bit of a death penalty in there. You will respawn outside the dungeon, I think is the answer to that. I should just rebuke it, shouldn't I? I should just get better at the timing and just rebuke it. I feel like that's the Galaxy Brain answer, isn't it? Yeah, okay. I've just gotta learn the timing. I'm gonna botch it. I'm gonna get like right down to like a sliver of hell. And I'm just gonna botch it. I can feel it. You know? And it'll be no one's fault but my own. Patch 8.4, also the Dragon Emperor of Corpses now has a more clear telegraphing of when it's about to go off. Oh yeah, that was a close one. Nice. This is way better. Why didn't anyone suggest this?
I cannot do that.
Yeah, here we go. We're learning from our mistakes. We're getting better. Coming up with strats. No one's ever thought to do this before. Brand new. Yeah. I'm very clear this is not a new strat, by the way. Just in case anyone thought I was being serious. Oh. Just not looking at his health bar. I'm like, Oh no, I died! No, it's something good! What happened? We got there. Ooh, minion all res. That's useful for us. Necrotic res is useful for us, though. Symbol of demise. This is an interesting trick. I don't know if you guys knew this. If you have a tooltip up and you alt-tab, the tooltip will stay up. I'm realizing that no one can actually see. Oh no, you can't. Oh no, it's I didn't flip it back. I'm sorry. There it is. Let's get some questions here. Any new marksman still coming or visual improvements of existing one? It's my favorite class in every RPG, but I feel it's lacking visually a little to enjoy its gameplay. Yeah, the we don't have any new marksman specific skills or major updates to them coming next patch. But there is something that they'll have that they could use if they wanted. Probably, maybe. We'll see. The whales towing the Imperial Dreadnought. Are they dead or alive? Yes. They seem to be alive, but I can't tell. The extra 100 HP is enough if you don't stand in the telegraphed one-shot mechanic. Oh, come on. Will legendaries be class specific, or can I use them for multiple classes? It's a little of column A, a little of column B. Some will be class specific, some will not. Alright, any plans on adding vibration to controller players to get more of an oomph when you play? I don't think we've actually talked about that one specifically, but I don't see why not. Probably just something that we've got to hook up. It's probably not that hard. I feel like all of that's like been done a bajillion times, so we can just find some sort of package that's just like controller.vibrate. 10. Alright, we can start one. I'm just gonna go to them and get their waypoints here real quick. I'm pretty sure you have to walk to each one of them to get their waypoints. Right? Yeah. 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 I do love that bridge building animation. I feel like we should eventually like alter it a little bit so it's like different based on which timeline it is. So like, I don't know, have like lava rocks here or something like that, and then have like frozen rocks over on Age of Winter, and like so you could have like the like creeping from one to the other. I think that'd be really cool. So, someone on the art team's just like, no. Sorry guys. I know I'm not supposed to run my mouth, but I do. I usually let you guys pick what I'm gonna do, but I just went for it.
I cannot do that.
Shellhound of focus. Ugh. Shell out any gear for me.
I cannot do that.
A healing giant crab of focus. Like, so I'm really enjoying this character still, actually, but I feel like I've been playing it for a while, and there's still a little bit left in the patch. I might bust out a different character for next stream, just to mix it up, you know. I feel like I've been playing this one for a little bit. I just saw the start of this question. I haven't read the whole thing, but like I know I saw this suggestion. I have a feeling it's gonna be exactly the same suggestion. I saw it just like earlier today. Could you add a betting chest to PvP? Oh, to PvP, it's different. Where both players can place items in it and press the accept, and the winning player can loot the chest when the PvP match is finished. So I love this idea. So it's Magic used to have this. The card game Magic the Gathering. It's called Ante. So you'd at the start of the game, both players would agree on a card that is like it's what they're betting on for the game, and it's like whoever wins gets to keep both cards. And it ended up being really unhealthy for the game as a whole, and they took it out. But I thought it was a really cool thing, a cool idea for a mechanic. Especially early on in Magic's history when it was a very different game. And you weren't betting $100 pieces of cardboard or $1,000 pieces of cardboard. In some extreme cases. Yeah, that's why Shahar is a big fan. Well, not only why. I can see that being really fun. Like, a PvP betting system. I think that'd be awesome. I feel like it could lead to some kinda unhealthy gameplay, or I mean, honestly, that also leads to free trade. So this is the really painful part about like wanting to avoid free trade, is if you can pick your PvP opponent as well, all you do is just like one of you puts 10 gold in the pot and one person puts the item in the other pot, and they intentionally lose, and it goes over, and or you both put. Yeah, and then you just do the other way. You win the other way with the other item for the trade. It's like has this like weird trust trading thing that happens, and then there's people getting scammed, and it's just horrible. So like I do love the idea, but it would have to only work in like random dueling, and you couldn't like rematch anyone or something like that. Llama telling Reimer to make me a new build. Ugh, this is what you get for that. Here's another skill node from a new skill. While you have Earth Armor, if you fall below 6 stacks of Maelstrom, you consume all stacks of Earth Armor to cast Maelstrom once per stack consumed. While you have Earth Armor, if you fall below 6 stacks of Maelstrom, you consume all stacks of Earth Armor to cast Maelstrom once per stack consumed. And the skill is not called Earth Armor. Just to be clear. Get that prepped. Let's read this message from someone. Alright, against free trade. Wait, what? How exactly will trade work then? I missed something. Go check out our PvP FAQ then. Yeah, like, so we want to avoid having just a completely open, anything goes economy. It really frequently leads to third-party RMT sites as being the primary way of getting geared up when you hit endgame, or even just like playing a third-party site to gear up quickly, like, and it dramatically changes the economy of everything. So if there is free trade, especially with a such a high variance drop pool of items, if you find any item that's good for any build, you effectively find the item you need, because you can just take that item and immediately leverage it for or through trade to get the item you need. So suddenly, drops need to be so rare. Like, so rare. And we do want the primary method for gearing your character to be killing monsters. As it drops, good drops need to be so rare. So there's a whole thing on that. I'd rather not in the last 10 minutes of the stream go into a real detailed version of it, though, if that's okay. But yeah, there's an explanation. The multiplayer FAQ has a lot of info on it. So the more I take the piss, the more of you leak. I think I can live with that. Yeah. Like I said, no shame. Hey Mike, any info regarding the current state of Necromancer? Myself and quite a few others are having a pretty bad time with it in its current state in empowered content. I don't have any sweeping statements to tell you on it right now. If there's stuff that you'd like to see changed with it, my advice is to go to the forums and leave a feedback post there. It will be the most efficient way of getting your concerns seen by the right people. Not that I'm the wrong people, just more than just me.
I cannot do that.
Okay, so if I play with a friend and find an item that's great for him, I can't just give it to him. We really want, like, so especially if you're actively playing with each other simultaneously, the goal is to be able to give him that item, because we do have instance loot. So if you're one of you's playing a mage, one of you's playing a sentinel, and like you're on your sentinel and you drop this like amazing, like you drop gas bars, piece of gas bar set, and you're like, you want to give it to them, yeah, go ahead. Is the current plan. All of the trading stuff is very much up for debate, discussion, reworking, testing, you know, all those sorts of things. And right now the plan is currently to be able to give things to people you are actually playing with when you
Cannot do that.
I think the multiplayer FAQ says that too. And if it doesn't, whoops. What up, team? We're winding down. We had a good stream though. Had a lot of fun. I struggled a little bit with the Emperor of Corpses, but I got there. I developed some entirely new strats that no one's ever seen before.
I cannot do that.
I got my whole ass out, figuratively. Challenge accepted. I don't know what challenge I gave you. Uh-oh. This could be bad. Yeah, it's on me for either not reading it or forgotten about it. Sorry. That's okay. You don't need to be sorry for that. So someone asked a question, Ryber, on a scale of ... the answer is just yes. Mike discovered that standing in the Emperor's big AoE is a bad thing. Did anyone know that yet? Is that new?
I cannot do that.
When we do get multiplayer going live, I really wanna see if I can get like. I really want to see if I can get Day 9 in here. Play with us. That would be really cool. I don't know why that just came to mind, but let's just think about multiplayer in general. Quite like their mostly walking show, where they play old school point and click adventure games. So good. You guys should telegraph it more. This giant building up. I tried to get out of it. There was just a wall there, and I couldn't get out of it, you know? It was a little frustrating. I was just positioning him wrong, though. It's all my fault.
I cannot do that. Yeah.
Just have to say that the new Werebear model is effing awesome. Whoever did that one should get a raise. Coolest model in the game so far. I'll go buy him a beer. It's probably like 8 people though. You get like concept art. There's a lot of people that work on it in like indirect fashion, and even like we get a lot of collaboration from the team, and sometimes it's just like random like gut reaction feedback that helps from someone who's not really working on it. So like someone in level design that just like pokes their head into the channel to see what's going on and has some hot take on something that we've been working on for a while and are just used to it, but it like is really jarring. It, like getting that fresh perspective really helps quite often. Or someone from like a coder pops into the art channel and looks at something and is like, just because they play a lot of games. You know, we give a lot of feedback on different departments for things. It's really good. I like it. So the number of people that worked on whoever worked on Werebear, it's a lot of people. How many variations of map dungeon that is coming will have? I don't know what the math is on it, but and like some of the variations are really small, but if you want to get technical, it's probably somewhere in the millions. Just because there's like, as soon as you, like combinatorial math, the numbers get out of hand really quickly. Like the number of ways you can organize a deck of cards, when there's only 52 cards, but the number of unique ways you can organize a deck of playing cards is unbelievably huge. Are you hiring any live ops producers? I don't know what we're hiring right now. We do have a careers page on our website though, which you can check out. We're getting pretty close to the end of the stream here. You guys have been fantastic. Here's a little look at something else that we're doing. I don't know what that is. We've only got 2 minutes left. I don't think it's enough time to finish a whole wave. A whole monolith echo. Icho. We're like really overcapped on a few specific resistances, and I want to like take those out and put them elsewhere. Especially necrotic now that I've just got that new blessing. You get gloves. Do I have any engraved gauntlets that have good stats on them? No, this will not be useful. Maybe. A whole bunch here. Look at that in the gloves. I was gonna put them on the gloves thing. Let's find something useful here. We got a question. It's definitely a back scratcher. Back scratcher. Back scratcher. Very nice streams. Thank you very much. Glad you had fun. Is there any intent to eventually change monoliths over to generation? Oh, like random generation. Or maybe mix in some random generation with pre-made maps. It feels like Monolith is meant to be a huge replay endgame system. Feels bad if it never gets random maps, in my opinion. Yeah, I think that it's something that we'd love to get in as many places as possible. It's tricky, to say the least. Is there anything specific that I want off these? I do need the void res, don't I? Well, with that, we are going to call it a stream. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Thanks for coming out. I hope to see you next time.